Hi everybody, my name is Jimmy Carroll. I'm the Vice President of Operations at Tech B2B Marketing. I'm here today on the Manufacturing Matters podcast. I have the pleasure of being joined by Jane Heffner of Mobile Industrial Robots, or MIR as people call them, and of course my colleague Winn Hardin. Jane, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Great, yeah, so I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about, most people probably know MIR, but tell us a little bit about the company, what's exciting there for you right now, and what you do there.
So MIR has just celebrated its 10-year anniversary. It's been a very fast 10 years for us, a lot of installations around the world and a lot of new developments of developing the technology as we've worked through, from that perspective. So, we now have over 9,000 robots installed around the world that are operating in many different facilities. And in some of those cases, many of our customers have significant numbers of robots in fleet that are operating rather than just, exploring how does a MIR work, how does an AMR work. So people are really using them, now for significant activities that are going on. I've been with MIR now since February of last year. Mm-hmm. I joined after previously being in the robotics industry for 6 years. And I think what's interesting and exciting for me is to see basically the interest that we are generating. I think people have looked at playing with them, if for want of a better word, for a long time. And now they really understand the value that they can bring. And now they're really beginning to implement them into quite complicated applications. And we're happy to help with that. So, seeing a lot of good activity and significant fleet development going forward.
What kind of number represents one of the largest fleets that you're aware of? I'm just curious.
Probably about 400 robots with one customer, not all in one facility, but across the world.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You talk about the growth of MIR over the years, and I first met a colleague of yours maybe 7 or 8 years ago at Automate, and it was a modest-sized booth. And the next Automate, I went to the booth, and it was massive, and I'm like, wow, this is quite the development, right? In the past 7 or 8 years, or over the course of the 10-year history of the company, what are some of the primary ways that the product itself has grown or developed? In terms of visual capabilities or payload capabilities or speed or battery, anything like this. Like, what are some of the most interesting ways that you've seen these robots, progress?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things. We were purchased by Teradyne, which is semiconductor test equipment background. So obviously, coming out of that marketplace, the emphasis on quality for that product is absolutely critical.
Right.
And so I think one of the aspects that Teradyne has been able to bring to us has been the manufacturing discipline that we really needed to move from being a startup to really being a true company. So I think, we currently have 3 different payloads that we're selling into the marketplace. Teradyne has come in, and we've spent a lot of time driving quality into the products that we already have, so that we really make sure that it's quality first and there is a quality product that is going out to the customer.
Okay.
I think our customers will tell you they've seen improvement with that. We have more work to do from that perspective. The quality journey is never done, but it's definitely moving in that direction.
Okay.
Additionally, Teradyne also purchased a company called AutoGuide. And AutoGuide was merged in with MIR about a year ago. Actually, it's probably about a year and a half ago now. And the goal there was to complement the low payload that we have right now with much heavier payload product.
Right.
It was rebranded as MIR. AutoGuide disappeared last year. It was rebranded as MIR, and we're in the process of bringing new products to the marketplace to satisfy the heavy payload requirements that are basically out there.
What's the payload ranges we're talking about there, Jim?
Today is 250 to 1350, and then this will take us up to much heavier, like pallet jacks and forklifts and forklift capability. So much heavier payload from that perspective. What we want to make sure is, driving back to the quality again, is that we do it right. We will be able to operate off one software platform for all of our robots, no matter whether it's heavy payload or low payload.
Right.
And stay tuned. Hopefully those will be coming to market later this year, and we'll be be able to demonstrate some of that at Automate coming up this year.
Very cool. Looking forward to seeing about it. I can't remember what network it's on, but one of the streaming networks that on one of the TV shows I've been binging lately, there's a recurring commercial for Salesforce. It's Matthew McConaughey, right? And he says, if AI is the Wild West, is data the new gold? He says data, but is data the new gold? What are some ways that you...
He's always right, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's far too handsome to disagree with, right? So, but what are some ways that you can use data as a selling point to your customers to say, we're going to give you this data so that you can improve operational efficiency? Do you have something like that, first of all?
We do.
Yeah.
So Automate, last year, we launched Mir Insights. Mir Insights is built off a fleet management system, all right? And the capability that brings us is that we use fleet management to help our customers manage fleets, right? So we're seeing, as I said earlier, we're seeing customers now really adopt in much higher volumes. And the fleet management element of that, having all of those robots dance together, is basically very, very critical how we do that. But while we're doing that, we're gathering data. And so what we've done is we've taken that information and now we're able to offer that back to our customers to basically help them optimize, maybe mission layouts or productivity, see how they're using them, and then based on lessons learned and best practices that we see in other places, help them with their optimization and a continuous improvement process, that we can move forward with it. So, it's very new. Many of our customers are just beginning to adopt that and we're beginning to take that to them.
Right.
So, hopefully the next time that we talk, we can talk about some really specific examples of where we've seen that optimization occur.
Okay, very cool.
Is that a cloud-based program?
It is.
Okay.
Yes, it's a cloud-based program, and it is.
Are you able to sanitize? Are you able to use customer data in a sanitized environment so you can actually make your product line stronger? When we
Say
talk
that one more
about,
time, sorry.
are you able to sanitize data, operational data, that then Mir can say, all right, let's take all this data from different verticals and analyze it and make our product line stronger? Or is it always us pushing software and technology out to the customer base, or are we going to start seeing
I think we're
two-way?
in this pivotal position. We're kind of like at this tipping point, right? We've very much been about pushing information out and pushing product out, and whether it's software, whether it's hardware,
Right.
we've been pushing product out to the customers, right? I think now we're in a position where we can start to use data that's basically out there to help us with product development, to basically look at kind of, how do we optimize? Like, what is the health checking of robots? Like, how can we see what's basically going on in your facility, and then maybe come back to you and be able to say, okay, maybe some maintenance here, or some help there would be helpful.
Predictive.
Kind of
Just nothing from predictive
Absolutely.
maintenance. I would think customers
Absolutely.
would
Yeah.
engage with that.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask about was growth in general, right? So in the last couple of years, COVID and this persisting labor shortage have highlighted the increasing importance of automation. And, that number is probably going to continue to go up, and as people, adopt automation more and more. But from your perspective, you kind of mentioned earlier, like, people have gone from maybe looking at this as robot as something to play with, and they're kind of unsure of how they're going to use it. But now people are really using it and finding different ways to add value. I'm just curious, like, in addition to the obvious things like the labor shortage, what are some growth drivers behind that, like in the warehouse and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously you talked about, the labor issues that we face. That's going to be an ongoing issue for us, continuing to move forward. And again, it's not about replacing the people that are basically there.
Right.
It's about, basically taking very simple functions. So anywhere where you have somebody pushing a cart from point A to point B, that's something that a robot can do, and then we can upskill that person, to be able to, do much more rewarding, positions that are basically, out there as well. I think too, some of the other drivers are the coming out of COVID, right? That we're seeing a lot of companies that still want to go to lights out capability. The definition of lights out is a big word, right? It's like, I think there still needs to be obviously some involvement, from people from that perspective. But in the general concept of lights out, the robots, they don't call off sick. They continue to work. They don't need to be, on different shifts. You can have one robot that works 24 hours a day, and we're not going to face any, labor issues or anything like that from that perspective. So I think all of those aspects, not just the shortage, but just basically the productivity that you can bring from a robot, is incredibly important. And just listening to some of the things through the conference, that's not going to change. I mean, it's I think our labor issues are very deeply rooted, and it's going to go on for a long time. And it's wherever we can look for simple applications to introduce people to how the AMRs work, and so that they can get used to them and they can get familiar with them, rather than super complicated projects. But there's a lot of very simple stuff that we can start with and work around, to introduce people and get them more familiar.
Get them familiar with a little bit of productivity gains and help them take that next step to the next step.
Yeah.
I'm really wondering, since we're kind of the beginning of a maturity acceptance curve, right, when it comes to AMRs. Yeah. I wonder if we either have it now, or if you have any gut feelings now, or if we'll in a short period of time. Do you think that we'll be able to go to warehouse companies and say, basically, these guys use autonomous mobile robotics in their operations, their logistics, and it correlates with a better culture. So it's not just about productivity gains, but there's more career paths, there's more the ability to upskill, as you mentioned earlier. I'm just wondering if we're going to see a point where people would rather, we hear it from McKinsey and others, they'd rather work for companies that are leveraging technology rather than purely manual labor operations. Yeah. And I wonder if someday we'll actually see data to that point.
Yeah, I think, I've seen in the last year since I've been at MIR, had a great time visiting many of our customers and our partners, and seeing what's out there. And what's been interesting to me is that when I really feel that the culture has been accepted is when the robots are given names, right? So, the employees will actually name the robots, right? Like they're a member of the team, right? And it's a very different, in some cases we've had some customers who've gone through a lot of challenges in the implementation, right? And it wasn't necessarily an easy implementation, but they're now past that. And now they fully, everybody on the floor fully values, the robot as part of that team's ability to get their job done. And I think, when you see that happening, right, I think it takes a little bit of time, for people to kind of get over their concerns.
Change is always tough.
Yeah, change is always tough. But I think once they see how it helps them, it's been pretty exciting to see. There's some really creative names out there too. So it's fun to see.
That comes to mind?
I don't know if I can put this on the podcast, but we were at one place where they basically named them after Disney villains. Okay. Right? Being here in Orlando, right? They named them after Disney villains. I think they probably named them that way initially because that's how they felt about them. But now there's an endearing element to it. So you see Jafar running up and down the corridor. It's kind of fun.
I love it.
So,
Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Can I circle back real quick to early on? You mentioned that one of the things that Teradyne was bringing to you was improved manufacturing, greater uptime reliability. Is there a metric or anything that you normally share with clients, or that talks about the improvements in that area?
I don't have the figure for you, but yes, we measure now basically productivity, uptime, in our facilities, out of the box successes, right? How many robots, and basically, we're taking out of the box and we're just basically implementing them and moving forward. Right. Those are significant quality metrics. And I think when you work with a large global company, like Teradyne, those kind of metrics are what drive your manufacturing, goals, and it's a lot of measurement, it's a lot of review. Absolutely. And I think those kind of KPIs are also, drifting into other processes. So it's about putting processes in place, whether it's a sales process, whether it's a quality process, whether it's a manufacturing process, whether it's a marketing process, right? Mm-hmm. What are those processes, and are they being effective, and how do we measure them, through KPIs? And I think that's something really important that Teradyne can bring to us. They've got a global reach. They've got this manufacturing discipline, that they can bring to us as well. They've worked with very big customers, for many, many, many years. Yeah. And so they bring that, larger customer strategic account, management, concept as well. And they work in the technical environment as well. So, we've now formed what we call Teradyne Robotics. Mm-hmm. So you are and MIR both roll up under Teradyne Robotics, right, which is a separate entity, and yeah, stay tuned, and maybe that area is going to grow.
Plus global engineering support, I would assume.
Absolutely.
that
Engineering, we're working through like how we work that, slightly different in the technology, but yes, absolutely, we're able to leverage a lot of years of experience, from Teradyne, into the robotics field.
Jane, what else haven't we asked about today that you're excited about at the company or in the space in general?
Yeah, I think I think what's exciting to me for Mir is that, as I said, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, right? Which isn't very long, right, in comparison. But in the AMR world, it's a significant length of time.
I would have guessed longer, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
but
same.
That's probably just because I'm old.
Right. So, well, I think where we are now is, people know our name.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're building trust with our customers, and I think that what Mir can bring is 10 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
We've skinned our knees, right? Whenever you introduce new technology, there's going to be challenges associated with it.
Yeah.
And, we've learned a lot during that period of time. And so I think what we can bring to customers is that experience and a faster ability to scale up and to get them where they need to be so that they can really realize, the benefits, of whether it's automation in general or working with, AMRs too.
I got one last question, if I could. You mentioned you are being part of Teradyne family. Are we software compatible? Are we ready to put arms on pedestals?
Well, we have an arm on a pedestal right now through a third party,
Okay.
and we've worked that through a third party at this point in time.
Okay.
We're beginning to roll that out to the marketplace, like to certain different spaces to kind of see what that compatibility and see what that interest looks like.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure that there will be more development, around that. There's a couple of, beta, test units that are around the country.
Okay.
And we had one yet last year at Automate as well. Gained a lot of interest from that too.
Okay.
And I think that will continue to, really gel and grow as we move forward.
Cool.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of exciting developments on the horizon, and everyone should keep an eye out. Jane, if people want to learn more, what's the website?
It is mirrobots.com.
Mir Robots, and of course on LinkedIn. So,
Yes.
Jane, it's been a pleasure talking. I really appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. So again, if you want to learn more about Mir, please do check out the website, go on LinkedIn, reach out to Jane, reach out to us, and we can reach out to Jane for you if you want.
Absolutely.
Manufacturing-matters.com. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye.